Hi friends, Paige here with m.a.b.e.l, and in the video you're about to see, you'll see me sew a quilt coat from a damaged vintage quilt from start to finish. This is not a super long process, but there are some parts that are a little persnickety, so I hope you learn something when you watch the video. Hello everyone, we are back and we are going to sew today the quilt coat that I cut out last time from that beautiful grandmother's flower garden quilt. As a refresher, I have the two front pieces. I have the back. I have each arm. And I am going to put, because I loved this ice cream border, I am going to make reversible cuffs on the sleeves so you get that beautiful ice cream border. And then this is the piece that I'm going to use to cut the pockets, one for each side. And lastly, I have some feed sack. It is yellow. It matches the yellow Hexie border on the flowers, and this will be going along the bottom and up the front of the coat. So let's start sewing. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut out and sew on the pockets, and this is my pattern template, and this quilt is very symmetrical, so I think I'm going to be able to nicely place the pockets so that it matches up where I want it to be, and I think we'll go like this. I'm giving myself a little bit extra of a seam allowance. There. All right, so the pockets are right there where I want them to be on the coat. So now I'm going to take them to the sewing machine, and I am going to first sew down, and then I'm going to adhere the pocket or sew the pocket to the coat. So now I'm going to take the two pocket pieces and prepare them to be sewed down on the coat fronts. I am tucking the slanted edge of the pockets under about 1/4 of an inch, and I am going to top stitch from the right side. When I do top stitching, I use a stitch length of approximately 3.5. The first line of top stitching is 1/8 inch from the edge, the second is 1/4 inch. I repeat this for the second pocket. I'm going to go press these pockets so they lie flat when I pin them onto the coat. I take this time to turn under the seam allowance about 1/4 inch and press that as well. I really like matching the pocket pieces to the front of my jackets, so I take the time to really pin these in place and make sure that all the patterns match up. And I really take my time to pin these in place carefully. Of course, I do this for both sides. So now I'm going to take two pieces with the pockets pinned on. I'm going to take them to the machine and sew both pockets to both coat fronts. Once everything's lined up, I just start sewing. I do 2 rows of top stitching for the pockets for durability. So I have both fronts done. The next step is to sew the shoulder seams of the back to the fronts. I match up the shoulder seams and I use clips to clip them together and sew at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So right now we have the front of the coat sewn to the back, and what I'm going to do now is serge those shoulder seams. Typically I serge before seaming, however in this instance I did forget this one step. I decided at this point to serge the remainder of the seams. It's a little bit tricky to serge the seams once they've been sold on a bulkier garment. So now that the fronts and the back are attached at the shoulders, I'm going to sew in the arm, the sleeve. I'm going to start with the cap, and then once I have the sleeve cap in place, I am then going to stitch from the hem of the sleeve to the hem of the coat. And I'm going to do that for each side. So I noticed while I was cutting the sleeve that there is a hole in the fabric, in the quilt right there. It's on one of the red Hexies. And that's why I always save pieces of the quilt. So I've got a red Hexie right here that I can use to repair it. So I'm just going to snip that out and place it. Yeah, just place it on top, and then I am just going to stitch that in place with the sewing machine. The green area next to the red Hexie was also a little threadbare, so I did some darning there. Oops. I've now clipped the sleeve cap into the arm side, and I am stitching this at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. When I get to the shoulder seam, I am making sure those seam allowances lie flat to reduce bulk. This is our temporary foster puppy, Tally. She's such a good girl. So now I have basically the jacket completed. The sleeves are attached to the body, and it actually looks like a coat. So what I'm going to do now is put the cuffs on the sleeves. Then we will bind the raw edges and put on the snaps. So I put the whole coat together from start to finish, but there still are some trim that need to be done to make the whole thing complete. So that is the next video. Follow along, you'll see the coat from start to finish. If you enjoy content like this, hit like and subscribe for more.